Hey there, everybody. Tuesday evening here. Tim Buckley with you. We're chatting all about the weather. We call it live weather impact, I should say. And the next 30 minutes, we'll be talking all about the Carolinas. And what you want to know about today is how long is the warmth going to stick around? When will you need to worry about some rain potential? And is this going to be for real spring or fake spring? You probably already know the answer to that. So let's get to it. We're going to talk all about what's going on across the area right now. What's interesting to me still is this is kind of still new for us, but noticing that we are still seeing some daylight. You know, we do the show today at the same time every evening, and so we're really kind of keenly aware how much daylight you have and how much daylight you don't have. Well, right now we're seeing those days just getting a little bit longer day by day. So as we look over the skyline in Greensboro, there's still some definition to the clouds, which means you still have some daylight out there to kind of enjoy. Temperature is 59 degrees here. And if we look at the clouds over the last couple of hours, I'll pop myself off so you can see it. This is going to go back from noon. You might have noticed earlier today there was a lot more in the way of sunshine, but as the day kind of built on, we actually found more clouds moving into the area. And this is going to be a theme. It's a nice warm up over the next couple of days, but it is not a clean or easy warm up. We're going to have some clouds that come along for the ride with this, and also occasionally probably some rainfall too. So that's something you want to be keeping an eye on. In fact, one of our viewers saw a cool sight today and snapped it and sent it in to us. This is from Chris up in Rockingham County, and if you look closely, you probably notice that rainbow-looking feature in the center there. We tend to call these sun dogs. And if you ever see something like that, look on the other side of the sun too, because you might notice both of them. There could be two kind of mirrored on both sides of the sun. What it is these clouds today just had some amount of ice crystals kind of suspended in the air. And when the sun gets to a lower angle, it kind of cuts through it in just the right way. And we see it like a rainbow looking feature. Pretty cool stuff. Very common in the wintertime. But as always, if you see something like that, snap it, send it in, then we can kind of share it with everybody else. Here's the deal going into tomorrow. So we're looking at clouds thickening up basically as we go through tonight and tomorrow. What you don't see any bit of, though, is cold air. We'll start the morning in the low 50s early on, and then by the afternoon, should have a pretty easy time getting into the mid 60s for your highs. Here's what our forecast model thinks. We have us right in around 67 to 68 degrees for tomorrow. Apart from the clouds, you shouldn't really have to worry about any rain for Wednesday. But one thing you might want to kind of keep an eye on is going to be the wind. We've already noticed that the wind is gusting a little bit. It's a warm wind, but it'll get stronger throughout the day for tomorrow. So you see right there, those winds, if I back it up just a little bit more, that's around 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. 30 mile per hour wind. Not going to cause any down trees or power lines or anything like that, but it is a bit of a factor. And this time of year, I know we're still kind of getting used to what time of year it is. When you have gusty winds and you have that in the air, sometimes you can get a little bit more of this. The pollen is creeping up. We started this for the first time last week. Those are the first local pollen reports issued for our area. Mostly they've been in the low range so far, but we're already starting to see an increase here. So the forecast going through tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday calls for higher levels of pollen. And as we work our way into the season, some rules of thumb to think about: the nicer the weather is, the warmer, the sunnier, the windier, then you typically have worse pollen. When you have the clouds and the cooler air and also the rain, that's when you have better pollen days or lower pollen days, and you can breathe a little easier. So it's kind of a trade-off. Which one do you prefer? Let's talk about the weather pattern going forward. We have high pressure in control now, but as that slides offshore, we're going to start to lose grip on the sturdiness of our sunshine. So what we'll find instead is that we see some more clouds and moisture kind of coming in here. And this is all a flow that we can track basically going from the south of us. So it's coming in from the Gulf. No surprise, it brings that moisture in mostly above our heads at first. So that'll be the cloud cover for tomorrow. But you'll also notice up to the north, you see that cold front, that's coming our way. And what that'll do is it makes a really hard forecast for us, honestly, because half of our area could be on the cool side on Thursday, half the area could be on the warm side. So we could see a split between 50s, 60s, and closer to 70 for that Thursday forecast. There'll also be a little bit of some rain around this front. So detailing exactly who gets those showers and how many of them, that's a tricky part of the Thursday forecast. Overall, if we break this down kind of day by dry day. We should be expecting about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain over the next 4 to 5 days. And to kind of clear it out for you and make it a little easier to understand, tomorrow, don't worry about it. There's no rain. Thursday, on and off showers are possible. Friday, yes, it will rain, but it'll only be in the morning time. Once we get into the weekend, then we'll have another system to track Saturday into Sunday. So with all that going on, it's kind of easier just to take it one day at a time. So a little closer view for you. There's another look at tomorrow. Here's Thursday. In the morning is when we could start to see some of those lighter showers or sprinkles. And then here's the afternoon. You see what I was talking about with the forecast pane. 67 in Salisbury, maybe 55 in Reedsville. So there's a big spread around our area, and that'll kind of depend on what your temperature ends up being. Going into Friday, this is something we haven't seen in a little while. Almost a line of downpours and maybe even some thunder. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. So Friday's rain chance is early in the day. And then as we go toward the afternoon, this is probably the best time that you want to be outside throughout the whole week. It'll be windy, but it should be sunny and warm. Balmy even, very spring-like for Friday afternoon, and I think you'll have that to enjoy. If that's not enough to kind of chew on, we look toward the weekend. More questions. Saturday into Sunday. Both of the major models here do have a system that's likely to develop. They agree that it probably brings some rain to North Carolina. And I'll tell you, even into Virginia, there's even some intrigue of maybe a little wet snow mixing in. I wouldn't worry so much about that around here, but it'll be something that we track for you. We mentioned fake spring as a possibility. Well, this is the upper level potential. Whenever we show you this map, it's really kind of showing you the jet stream. And all you need to know about that is it tends to separate the warmer air to the south and the cooler air to the north. So lately it's been mostly riding north of us, but by Sunday into Monday, there's a big dip in the flow. And what that can do is it makes it a lot easier for colder air to move south, and it can also spin up some weather systems too. So no surprise, Sunday into Monday looks like it has a bit of a rain chance, but also cooler than average weather. So this is not going to stick around forever. Let's get you that 7-day forecast so you can see all of this at once. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday still looking on the warm side. Remember, there is a bit of a uncertainty with just how warm your Thursday will be. That'll depend on how far north or south you live. And then toward the weekend we go. I do have us cooling down quite a bit Saturday into Sunday. That's when we're only having highs in the 40s, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday, and that's going to feel a lot different after our highs in the 60s and 70s. We'll continue to work to time out those rain chances for you over the next couple of days as we get more confidence in the forecast. In the meantime, we'll take a quick 2-minute break, then be joined by Brad Panovich down in Charlotte to talk all about our weather and interesting tidbits across the country. Back after this.